thought in her head. So this is a rendition of the Sri Yantra. So inhale, hands to heart center. Just take a few breaths to come into your mental and emotional space today for our class. Giving homage to all the powers and wisdom inside of you of the Shakti. Let us share Om Shrim 8 times. Take a breath in. Om Shrim. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. And inhale, open the eyes, and exhale, release. So there's so much to know about yantras that in our class, similar to what we did with the goddesses, I'd like to go over some of the main points, but this is something that it takes a lifetime to really delve into, not only understanding the philosophical and engineering constructs of the Sri Yantra, but then your own practice. Two things I wanted to make as a disclaimer. I do not use the Sri Yantra in my own meditation practice. So I'm sharing this information with you more from an academic point of view than from a practice point of view. I had a second disclaimer, but you know what? I can't remember what it is, but as it comes to me, we'll get to that. So as we look at this beautiful Sri Yantra, you'll notice the dot in the middle. That is the bindu. So the bindu is the emergence of the Shiva Shakti principle. Purusha and Prakriti is the bindu. And as you can see, automatically our eyes go to the middle. And let's look now at other parts of the Sri Yantra. We'll be discussing the Sri Yantra from a very gross manifestation awareness. And as we take more time to look at Sri Yantra, we can refine our awareness. But let's look at it now from more of a gross awareness. I also should point out, I know nothing about it. I haven't studied or nor do I use it as a meditation practice, but the Sri Yantra also comes in a three-dimensional form. This is called the Meru. And there are temples, people have little statues like this, and it is part of their spiritual journey. So this is a three-dimensional depiction of the Sri Yantra. Meru is M-E-R-U. But when we first start looking at the Sri Mantra, it is helpful to look at it in black and white so that we're not distracted by extra lines and different colors. So I would recommend that if you would like to delve deeper for your own practice.
What'd you say? Sorry.
How you feel?
Feel
Or
good.
for
How do you feel?
I feel nice. Full of musty.
there. If you want to make this part of your practice, they recommend starting in the black and white version first so that we can understand the construct. So if we look at the Sri Yantra, we see the outer square. That outer square represents Earth. And you can see the 4 portals or gates, those are the 4 directions. Now there's many more directions and we'll get into that, but later. So here we have Earth, the square. We look at the 3 rings, that represents time, past, present, and future time. So we can relate this to Goddess Kali. Next, we have the first circle of 16 lotus petals, and they each have a reason. Now, when we are understanding the lotus petals, we go counterclockwise and we start at the bottom. So if you look at the very bottom petal, we have the 10 organs of perception: tongue, nose, mouth, skin, eyes, ears, feet, hands, arms, reproductive organs, and then you add 5, and you get the 5 elements of earth, water, fire, air, and space. And then the 16th petal is the mind. So this is also known in English as the wheel of fulfilling all your desires. And how do we fulfill our desires in the earthly plane? It's with our sense organs and through the elements. On the bottom, I put the reference to the article, which gives a much more in-depth explanation. Using that same reference, he then tells us about the 8 lotus petals on the inside. These govern specific activities of human beings, such as speech, grasping. Remember, grasping is the hands. Motion, locomotion, excretion, enjoyment, revulsion, attraction, and equanimity. So that is the second circle of lotuses. Now we're moving inward. Or perhaps before we move inward, let's look at the triangles. There are 4 upward facing triangles. Upward facing triangle is the Shiva energy, and there are 5 downward. So one way to look at the triangles without getting all mixed up by the lines is look at the midline and see all the little red circles. So you can count them. Starting from the bottom, you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You start at the very tip of the bottom circle. That's 1. So there are 5 downward facing triangles. And if you start at the tip of the top, you see there are 4 upward facing triangles. So here we have the intersection of Shiva and Shakti, principle, energy, and wisdom. Now looking a little more detailed at the triangles, if you look at the outer circle of the triangles, again going clockwise, starting at the bottom, you will see different qualities in the human being. Agitation, pursuit, attraction, delight, delusion, immobility, release, control, pleasure, intoxication, accomplishment of desire, luxury, mantra, and the destruction of duality. So all those qualities are depicted in the outer ring of triangles. Then we look at the next outer ring of triangles. And this one is at the very bottom. The first triangle is the giver of all accomplishments. And then moving counterclockwise, we have the giver of wealth, and then energy of activities that please all. 4th is the bringer of all blessings. 5th is the grantor of all desires. Then we have the remover of suffering, the appeaser of death, the overcomer of all obstacles, the bringer of beauty, and the 10th is the giver of all good fortune. So each triangle has a meaning in terms of fulfillment of certain desires that we may have. Later on, we're also going to see that in Sanskrit, there also are deities in mantras that are all associated with these circles of triangles. Then we go inner a little bit more, one circle in. And moving in the same direction, starting from the bottom and going counterclockwise. Omniscience, omnipotence, sovereignty, knowledge, destruction of all disease, unconditional support, vanquishment of evils, protection, and attainment of all desires. So these are also known as the chakras. They're different chakras, all these different circles of triangles. Then we have the inner triangle, and I got kind of messed up with my cursor, but it's the inner triangles. This is the fourth circle now going inward. They represent sustaining, creating, dissolution, pleasure, pain, cold, heat, and the ability to choose action. And then if we go in the middle, which I didn't cover, the middle triangle, this represents the world of the senses. And so the bow representing the mind, and remember, no, the bow does not represent the mind, sorry. But remember in the images of the goddess, you remember that there some held a bow. There was a noose. Some of them had a noose to goad you and bring you in. There was a stick. The central triangle is also the giver of all perfection, because inside there is the bindu, which is pure consciousness, the emergence of Shiva and Shakti. So this is just one way to look at the construct of the Sri Yantra. Now, I'm not going to read this, but you can read it later because there's a lot of Sanskrit words in here. But the Sri Yantra is also the Yantra of Sundari, Tripura Sundari. And so here in this reference, he also talks about the same inner journey from earth through the circle, through the lotus petals into the triangle. He talks about it a little bit differently. These are the two YouTube references that that I have used as we draw the yantra. So you can look at it later. What I like about this lady, Sarah Tomlinson, is that she also equates the image of the yantra to parts of the body in the chakra. So you remember the outer square are the feet. The 16 lotus petals, remember that inner circle are the thighs. The 8 lotus petals in the next inner circle is the pelvis or the Muladhara chakra. Then remember moving into the triangles, the outer triangles, Swadhisthana chakra. The next inner triangle of 10 is the Manipura. The next inner triangle of another 10 is Anahata. Then the 8 triangles are the Vishuddhi chakra. The inner downward facing triangle is the Ajna, and then the Bindu is the Sahasrara chakra. And she gives a really nice video there. I've given you the reference. And she draws this. This I think we'll wait for later. So this is all on the recording, so you will have all of this for you on your, that you can refer back to. But let's go to how to draw the Sri Yantra. So first thing is you have your piece of paper, and I'm going to move my computer, and you want to find the middle point of your paper. Now, as you find the middle of the point of your paper, you also want to think that you want to leave room for the outer circles and then the square itself. So what I did is I have a piece of cardboard, and I just figured out the middle point first, and that's my bindu. So go ahead, find the middle point. So then, as my sister said, you can, sorry you can't see me, but you can hear me. Take a compass, or perhaps the lid of one of your pots, put it in the center, And then you make your first circle. This is where the triangles will reside. Now I've left a lot of room on all the sides to complete the different circles and create the square. So you have your first circle, okay? And you guys, if I go too fast or too slow, somebody unmute and just give me a shout out. Now, Sarah Tomlinson does not do this, but I constructed the rest of the outside of the Sri Yantra. So what I did is after I made my first circle, I knew that my next circle would be 8 lotus petals, and then another circle would be 16 lotus petals. So go ahead, give yourself room to draw some pretty petals, make 2 more circles bigger than the first one that you made. And my sister told me a really cool trick. If you don't have a lid of a pot and your compass doesn't open any further, she said, just add a pencil, and now I can increase the circumference of my compass like this. I just had to tape it really, really well, which of course I didn't listen to her the first time. So let's make the next 2 circles. Once you've made those circles, we make 3 more narrow circles, because that's the time, the past, present, and future. So I'm going to just go ahead, do this also. And this can all be done freehand. And as I said, this is not a practice I use in meditation, but Sarah Tomlinson does. And I Googled her teacher just to feel comfortable on my own that it was a legitimate practice that she does in her learning, and it is. Of course, it's nice to do this. Oop. It's nice to do
For
this.
time.
Am I going too slow? No, okay. And I'm just going to finish outlining my past, present, and future here. Oops, didn't do this very well. All right, and my outer circle. Now, part of the reason why I like the methodology of Sarah is, again, because she does it freehand also in her videos. And she talks about how she personally learned this from her guru. And so I do think there is something to the sequencing of her drawing in terms of energetics. Again, which I have not authentically ever experienced myself. All right, again, setting up, what I also like to do is take a big ruler, and with the pencil, I draw a line through the middle, vertical and horizontal, and then also corner to corner, okay? Now draw lightly, because you want to be able to see your lines for measurements, but they can also get distracting. So let's draw those lines. The outer lines are going to help us with the gates and the directions and the portals of our square. Then once you finish that, make sure that you keep track of which circle is which. You have the 3 circles representing time, and then you have the circle of 16 petals and the circle of 8. So let's go to the circle of 8 and let's divide it into 8. So I take the middle line first. Then I look at my horizontal line. And then I just cut that in half. See? So in this quarter, there are 2 pieces, and I do that all the way around. So it's the inner circle, and cut it in half. Inner circle, oops, I did the wrong one. Inner circle, cut it in half. All right, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, the 16 petaled, you just divide it in half again.
Corinne, I feel a little bit lost, but I'm gonna just keep watching you.
No. I'm not very good. I'm not good at explaining this. So remember,
No. You're explaining it fine. I was trying to get my stuff together still, and then I missed one of the steps, so I don't want to like interrupt you.
No. Let's review it. Let's review. Okay. First, we divided the paper in half, and I found my middle point.
Okay.
Then I took my compass, and I made my first inner circle. So this inner circle is where all the triangles are going to happen. Then I made a second circle. This is where I'm going to have the 8 lotus petals. Then I made a third circle. This is the 16 petals. And then very messily, I made 3 more circles because this denotes time.
Okay.
All right. Then I made straight lines, and this is just to help guide me when I do the square. Now, Sarah Tomlinson, she only sets up the first circle with the triangles and then makes all this separately. But I found the way my brain works, it was easier to set up the structure first and then work inward. And that's very interesting, you guys. For psychologists have studied when people make drawings or create their own chakra mandalas and things, some people really like to work from the inside and work out. Other people like to have all the outside first and then work in, and that's quite interesting. So now I'm just making the divisions to make my 16 petals. And that's all I'm going to do right now. Well, in terms of setting up. Okay, now we're going to look at the triangles, and I need my cheat sheet. So first, with the pencil, draw a straight line from the inner circle at the top to the inner circle at the bottom, going through the bindu. This is going to be our guideline. Then, from your bindu to the top of the first circle, divide it in half. And where you divide it, put a dot. Maybe I should do this. On the bottom, same thing. Find the middle between the bindu and the bottom first circle and put a dot. So now I have 3 dots. On the bottom, in these 2 halves, again, measure off halfway through. So now on the bottom, if I count the circle also, that point I have 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the bindu. On the top, from the halfway point up, I'm going to divide that in 2 also. From the bindu to the halfway mark up, I don't want to divide it exactly in half. I want to come up a few centimeters. Okay? And that'll give you your last point now. So this is important that there's a little bit more space between the bindu and the first dot going up. All right, so now I have at the top 1, 2, 3, 4 bindu. And from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4 bindu. Give a little shout out if you're not there with me, because the rest we want to. Okay, I'll wait. So the really cool thing about this is that if you start with the ruler, but things start to go a little haywire, just start drawing freehand. So maybe your triangles won't have really nice straight lines. They might kind of wiggle to make sure that they intersect at the right place, like I did over here, but that's fine. Because my understanding is that as you use this at a meditation practice, and this I can authentically say, yes, this I found, it is incredible dharana, or 1-point focus practice. And as we know, as we hold 1-point focus for longer and longer periods, it becomes dhyana practice, which is concentration, which is the flow of 1-point focus over a period of time. And that's what happens when you make a Sri Yantra. It's also interesting to note, in my limited experience, some yoga practitioners that I know, as they refine their practice, they came to the Sri Yantra, and their practice was drawing it in many different mediums and dimensions. I don't know if that happens for everybody, but for the few people I know, it did. Okay, so now as we start looking at drawing the triangles, it's important to note, is it an upward or a downward facing triangle? So the very first one is a downward facing triangle. The point is going to be here at the bottom. The horizontal line is at the 4th dot from the top. So count 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here's that dot, the 4th dot. This is the horizontal line, and it touches the circle, the inner circle. So you take your ruler, come to the fourth circle, and draw a line all the way across. Oops, I think I better do this in green. Okay. Hang on, I'll catch up one sec. Now, from the point, here you go all the way down to number 1 at the bottom, and that makes your first downward facing triangle. The second triangle that you're going to make is an upward facing triangle. So the topmost point will be here at top number 1. The horizontal line is going to be at the 4th dot from the bottom. So you count 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 from the bottom, I'm going to make a horizontal line across. Here's my horizontal line across. I bring these corners on each side to the top of the circle. Okay, we have 2 intersecting triangles. These are the only triangles that touch the sides of the inner circle. Now the rest of the triangles, you may, as you make your lines, you may go over the point or under the point a little bit. That's why we do it in pencil. Okay, number 3, it's a downward facing triangle. The bottom point is at the 2nd dot from the bottom. The horizontal is at the 3rd dot from the top. Okay, so 3rd dot from the top, I'm going to make a horizontal line across. I'm not going to touch the circle, but I'm just kind of guessing how far I need to go. So I've made my horizontal line, 3rd dot down from the top. Now from that corner, I go to the 2nd dot from the bottom to make a downward facing triangle. Now, I have found it useful to actually write numbers in the corners of my triangles to help me remember what is what. So if you want, remember the first one had the point at the bottom. So I just put a little 1 in each of these corners in that first downward facing triangle. The second was the upward facing triangle. I put a 2 in each corner. The third one, to help me keep track now, remember it started from 3rd dot from the top and then came to a point at the 2nd dot from the bottom. So that was my 3rd triangle. The 4th triangle is an upward facing triangle. So it's going to start from the bottom, a horizontal line at number 3. The 3rd dot is my horizontal line across. So let's draw that. The top is the second dot from the top. So that's number 4. Number 5, now this is a little bit different. We need to make a new point. Find your bindu. Find the 4th dot from the bottom. And you want to find the halfway point in between. That's your new 5th point. All right, so it's below the bindu and halfway to the next dot below it. So this is a downward pointing triangle. So the point is at the new dot that I just made. The horizontal line is at the 2nd dot from the top. So find your 2nd dot from the top and simply make a horizontal line across first. Now find the new dot that you just made below the bindu, and that's the point of your triangle. The 6th triangle is upward facing. So that means the horizontal is going to be at number 2 dot from the bottom. That's the 6th triangle. So from that number 2 dot, let's make a horizontal line. The point from the top is the 4th dot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you find the 4th dot and then make the triangle there. Now the 7th triangle, we want to use the new point. Remember, it's the 5th one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Horizontally across here. Now, how do we know where we want to go? How far? So find your 5th point. If you just draw your hand across, you'll go through an intersection and then come to the line of the 3rd triangle. See it? That's your horizontal line. So I'm going to draw it in a little darker so you can see. So I've got the new point that I made, the 5th one. And I'm going to cross through these intersections. See this one? From here to here. And then the point is the 3rd dot from the top. That's my triangle. All right, so it started 5th from the bottom, went all the way across, went through this intersection, and then up to the 3rd from the top. The 8th triangle is downward facing. So we need to find the horizontal line here and here. All right, so to orient yourself, here's the bindu. Here's the cross I'm talking about. Here's the big horizontal line that you made for your first triangle. And right below it, you'll see these intersections. That's where you draw the horizontal line. Now on mine, wasn't quite straight. So you draw the horizontal line, it's above the bindu. The bottom is the 3rd one, 1, 2, 3. Now, you'll notice you're going through another intersection here. Okay, you with me? Now, the last one. Here's the bindu. If I go, I'm going to my left, I see another crossing, like an X. See? This X and this X. That's where I draw the horizontal line. It's a downward facing triangle. Again, mine is not quite parallel, so instead of using a ruler, I'm just going to use my hand. It goes down to the 4th dot, and that's your last triangle. All right, I have to get my notes, so keep working on this. I'll be right back. Oops. Okay, I'm back. All right, so now we have our triangles. So now, see, I needed one of the other mistakes to draw the lotuses. So here is the first circle after the triangles, right? And we divided it into 18, into 8. The point of the first lotus is going to be right at the top. So 1/2 of the lotus goes to the left. The other half of the lotus comes up. So you see, here's a lotus petal. And then you continue all the way around. Let me just make sure I did this right. This is 1, 2. Oh no, this is one of the mistakes. Stop, 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 stop. I meant to do it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. So now we go like each one, each division, I'll do it here, has a petal. Sorry. Look at this one. This is the one you want. Okay? So I hope in a nicer fashion than me, you've made your 8 lotus petals in that first circle. Now we repeat it, but we do 16 in the next circle coming out. Okay. So once you finish the lotus petals, it's nice to look again at the triangles. Remember how we spoke about the triangles being the different chakras? So let's look at the outer triangles first and see if you can see them, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. That's the first wheel. Then we look at the inner triangle, that there should be, I believe, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, 10, sorry. Then we look inside that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, sorry, this one is 10. And then inside that, we should have 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you might, this 8 got a little small on mine, but it's there. It's right there. Then you have the last triangle, which surrounds the bindu. And yay, you've done it. Now I think we have time. Yep, hang on. To make the portals. So look at the top. And see the points of these two lotus flowers? And then you come here to that first division. Find that first division, draw a line up. First division on this side, draw a line up. Come over here to the horizontal line, same thing. Find that division, draw a line out. On the bottom, and on this side, okay? Now from here, I'm going to be intersecting these beautiful diagonal lines I already made to make that first outer square. So you can use a ruler, or you can just go like this, come here, and then boom. Same thing here. Come down, come to the other side, and continue on. Notice I left the opening here free. All right, so see this? This was my guideline, so if you did it in pencil, you can erase that or we'll use it for something else. So now you may want to double this line like this. And Sarah makes 3. So let's do it. We have time. See how nice that diagonal line helped to square off the corner? Oops. Okay, woohoo! Okay. Now we have looked at today the Sri Yantra very much from just the construction point of view, understanding a little bit about the Shiva Shakti principles, the symbolism of the lotus, the symbolism of the circles as time and cycles. Remember the yugas, the 4 yugas in tantric and yoga belief? The squares are earth. As we come inside the circles, we pass through the time, goddess of Kali. As we're passing through the lotus circles, we're also looking at lunar energy. And as we come into the inner circle of triangles, we're looking at solar energy. Now there's many other ways to refine our understanding too. We spoke about the chakras as we make our way inward to the bindu. We spoke about parts of the body as you make your way into. Remember, the chakras have their parts of the body or organ or endocrine system associated with it. You can also look at the Sri Yantra, and we'll talk about this next weekend. Each point has a deity, has a mantra. There's also deities protecting the portals, northwest, southeast, but then also northeast, southeast, southwest, and they have their counterparts in the goddesses. So we will explore that. I'm moving the computer. If you need to look at the picture on the wall, let me know. If not, want to change. Oh, I see there are some chat remarks. 1 second. Oh, Karen, did you find your way? Hang on, I think I'm on. Why can't I see everybody? Oh, there. All right, unmute yourself if there were questions. Karen and Heidi are trying to say something, but it's not working. You're writing me a chat? Are your speakers on? Oh, up to 100. Sorry. Somebody else try and talk to me. All right. Terry, are you speaking to me? Crap. All I hear is bird noise. Oh, I heard Barbara laugh. Hang on, Barbara, you say something.
I hear you perfectly.
Okay, good. Do you have a question?
No, only apart from the fact that my Yantra looks rather Dali-ish. Early Cubism.
Okay, well, please watch Sarah Tomlinson's video. It's in the reference. It'll be on the recording. And if you want, should I put it back on so you can screenshot it? Would that be helpful?
Yep.
Okay, let me do it. Share screen. All right. This is one of her YouTubes. Go ahead and screenshot it. This is where she's actually, I think she's already made the yantras, but she's talking about the different chakra points within it, according to the body. And let me go backwards. Okay, here are the references. So maybe you want to take a screenshot of this. I did follow her methodology, but of course, gave it my own spin with my own words. But I did follow the sequence because, as I said, since I don't do this as a practice, I'm assuming that there is an energetic reason behind her drawing the triangles in the sequence that she did. I just don't understand it, or have not experienced it either. Although I've done this like 20 times, but I still haven't felt this yet. All right. Good. Well, I hope you guys had fun. Wait, I see Azadeh is smiling, looking at hers. Oh, yay! Look at that. Que lindo. Very nice. Nice. Azadeh, you're right. Terry, I have been thinking about Felicity. Oh, nice, Hyde. Throughout this whole week, how the heck she did that in glass, I don't know. It was crazy, just crazy. All right, everybody. Yes. So I think we'll end it here. So what I would ask you to do is look at the references that I gave. Of course, Google and there's so much more to know. Next week, I have sort of culled through a lot of the different references and shortened it to ones that I think are more understandable and useful to us in terms of now perhaps looking at a mantra or the deities and things like that relating to the Sri Yantra. So let us finish with Om Shri. Perhaps you'd like to look at your yantra as you do it. So you have a nice, beautiful point, beautiful image to look at. Inhale, hands to heart center. Let's begin. Om Shri, 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 Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Go ahead, release the pose. So remember last week, I referenced that short, I think it was 13 or 14-minute video on mantra and how we can refine our mantra. I'm sure some of you might have already experienced it. If your eyes were open and you started your Om Shri looking at your yantra, if you closed your eyes, you might have seen some or all of the triangles or the lotuses or some part of that image. And that's how we can refine and our mantra practice using the Sri Yantra. So thank you very much. I had a really good time today. Thank you. Have fun playing with your Sri Yantra. Go and color it. Color it, keep making it over and over again. And then I will see you guys on next weekend. So thank you very much. Namaste, everybody. Sorry about the audio.
Bye, everyone. Have a great